Rise like the day, I'll rise up. I'll rise unafraid, I'll rise up. And I'll do it 1,000 times again. Too broken down and tired of living life on a merry-go-round, and you can't find a fighter, but I see it in you, so we're gonna walk it out and move mountains. We're gonna walk it out, move mountains. And I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day, I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid, I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. And I'll rise up, high like the waves, I'll rise up, in spite of the ache, I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. When silence isn't quiet, and it feels like it's getting hard to breathe, and I know you feel like dying, feels like you're dying, but I promise we'll take the world to its feet and move mountains, bring it to its feet, move mountains. And I'll rise like the day, I'll rise unafraid, I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times. I'll rise up, I'll rise like the waves, I'll rise up, in spite of the ache, I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times I'll rise like the day, I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid, I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again.
10 years ago,
A global call was launched. He for She.
men and women in all our diversity,
United for gender equality.
The good news is that we have a uniting movement. It is called HeForShe.
Our passion ignited by a simple, powerful vision of a world that upholds women's rights as human rights.
and celebrates diversity and inclusion as the path to social change.
From a few champions
To millions of activists, He, she, they, we, proudly
We call for gender equality.
on political podiums,
And in grassroots organizations,
in corporate boardrooms,
in schools and universities,
in our own homes and communities. We are more than 2 million activists strong, pushing forward together.
10 years of HeForShe tells our story of change in action.
Gender equality in corporate policies makes workplaces safer and businesses more profitable.
Women in leadership transform organizations for the better.
Girls thrive where child marriage is banned. And honest conversations, from barbershops to the United Nations, liberate men from patriarchal norms about manhood. HeForShe reaches far and wide through influential voices in the arts and sports.
And mobilizes thousands of young volunteers. We are a movement of people,
In all our diversity,
unified by the courage to stand up.
to speak up for gender equality, knowing a better world is up to us.
It's up to you.
It's up to me. I am he for she.
Please welcome our MC, Emmy Award-winning ABC television eyewitness news anchor, activist, advocate, and cherished supporter of UN Women, Sade Badarinwa.
Hello. Good evening, everyone. How are you? Good. I'm glad to hear the energy. It is wonderful to be here, and it was great to see that video taking a look back at all of the incredible work that has been done. And a round of applause for Tonewall. You guys are wonderful. Well, welcome to the 2024 HeForShe Summit. We have an exciting program for you this evening. HeForShe champions are joining us from around the world, and they include HeForShe partners from public, private, and third sectors, United Nations, as well as UN Women sister agencies, and UN Women Goodwill ambassadors. So be prepared to be inspired this evening. And as many of you know and just saw, HeForShe is an extraordinary global alliance of leaders and movement change over the last decade. It has mobilized men and boys to become allies for gender equality. They are making changes and achieving impacts that we will hear more about tonight. Each year, the HeForShe Summit offers a unique platform to share successes and inspire each other to act for gender equality. And on a personal note, I just have to say, I'm so glad to be here tonight. I just finished anchoring the 5 o'clock news, ran over here. Thank you very much. And I actually have to anchor the 11 o'clock news tonight, but I said it is important to be here because I really know the difference that HeForShe is making and the difference really that all of you are making here in the room. I have been a long supporter of UN Women and a long supporter of advocating for women, certainly doing what I can in my industry, pushing for the advancement of women and supporting them as they strive for positions of power, which I think is key in all sectors. When women hold leadership roles, they have the authority to lead change, challenge inequality, and ensure that more inclusive, equitable systems are put into place. And I really see it every day, how important it is for men to share this cause, especially if you're at the helm. So I say, if you're a leader, be a leader in all the ways that matter. Drive progress forward. If you're responsible for setting salaries, make sure women are paid the same as their male counterpart. Absolutely. So I say follow the lead of former HeForShe champion, Prime Minister of Iceland, His Excellency, Mr. Bjarni Benediktsson, whose government set the ambition to be the first country in the world to close the gender pay gap. Incredible. And if you're hiring for leadership roles or positions of influence, make sure women are given opportunities as their male counterparts. And I say if there's a special project, pass the ball to a woman. And if a woman isn't quite ready, make sure you give her the support that she needs to succeed. Very important. And when men champion women for leadership roles and advocate for equal opportunities, they create the pathways for lasting change. And we're going to hear from some of the men who are doing just that. So let us begin tonight. I am delighted to welcome our host this evening, the Executive Director of UN Women, to take the stage. Please welcome Ms. Sima Bahous.
Thank you, Shada. Your Excellency, President of the Government of Spain, Pedro Sanchez, Your Excellency, Mr. Bjarni Benediktsson, Prime Minister of Iceland, my dear sister, our woman leader and inspiration at the UN, Amina Mohammed, Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our glittering celebration of the 10th anniversary of HeForShe. As you know, this is a very exclusive event. Our gala has been called the hottest ticket in town. It is indeed the hottest ticket in town for this General Assembly, and we agree. And you all have earned this ticket, so most welcome. You have demonstrated through your actions and through your words that when men and women, when boys and girls stand together for gender equality, progress is unstoppable, equality achievable, and you are making it happen. My thanks to all of you, and not just those of you who are here enjoying this wonderful evening together, but to everyone around the world who has been part of our movement. It is you who have made our shared journey possible. Whatever you do and wherever you sit, whether in government, business, or non-governmental organizations, and no less in your individual lives, you have mobilized men and boys for gender equality. Over the past 10 years, we have achieved great things. More than 2 million men and people of all genders have participated since we began our work, reaching close to 40 million, including women and girls in the most crisis-hit parts of the world. 2/3 of our HeForShe champions have boosted female representation in their organizations. We have seen new legislation to guarantee equal pay, reduce child marriage, businesses closer to parity on corporate boards and in leadership positions, shrunken pay gaps, and the list is long and admirable. We have championed gender equality on the playing field, reaching millions of sports fans. We have inspired young people globally to challenge social norms, to demand equality, to indeed be the change they want to be. UN Women applauds your efforts and achievements. And yes, we ask for more. Progress is happening, but far too slowly. It has provoked a tangible and sometimes visceral pushback, not least among young men. Some 60% of them told us in a recent survey that women's equality discriminates against them. That is something we must change, and HeForShe will be part of that change. Our latest Gender Snapshot report shows, despite progress, including quotas, women still hold only about a quarter of leadership positions in the public and the private sectors. More than half of countries restrict the jobs women can perform. Half lack human rights-based laws on rape, and every year, intimate partner violence affects 1 in 8 women and girls. Our friends, Next year, the 30th anniversary of the Beijing Platform for Action will drive calls to accelerate action for gender equality. I know HeForShe will remain at the heart of that cause. I call on all men and boys who have not yet done so to join this movement, and on those who have done so to step up further. This is what this moment demands, to use the power you have as men to challenge discrimination, to give us space and give it up without hesitation, to make your community, business, or household a place of equality and justice, to do what you can, because the fact that you can means that you must. We are here tonight to inspire each other, and I know that we will be inspired both here and going forward. I know that we have many HeForShes here tonight, but I also know that we have many SheForShes as well. And we need both of us to continue to move towards gender equality and women's and girls' empowerment. So here's to another 10 years of progress and achievement together. Happy 10th anniversary, and thank you.
Wow, incredible. Women still only hold about a quarter of leadership positions in the public and private sectors, and more than half of countries restrict the jobs women can perform. Still, so much to do. This is so relevant for today. We have got to move the needle. Executive Director Bahus, thank you so much for showing us how HeForShe is becoming really a turning point in taking action for gender equality. And I think that we can see the results achieved by governments, businesses, sports teams, nonprofits, and more. 2 million people in all of their diversity are standing up as a bold, united force for change. How amazing is that? Yet, you have also been reminded that so much is still at stake for women and girls. We need HeForShe more than ever. And now I'm thrilled that United Nations Deputy Secretary General is with us to greet you and share her thoughts as a long-standing global champion of gender equality and the UN's We the Women campaign. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Amina Mohammed.
Thank you, dear Seema, and Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, friends. Seema, you said this was the hottest ticket in town at GA Week. Did you see Hugh? The global citizen. But I can tell you, we're going to practice here tonight. Hello, New York. Didn't hear you. Hello, New York. Okay. New York is in the room, as is our presidents from Spain and our Prime Minister from Iceland. Thank you so much for joining us here today. It is very special. Happy birthday. It's the 10th birthday. It's very important because look at the numbers of you in this room. And I can assure you that if we had told everyone at the GA today that this was happening, they'd all be here. There is such a movement for the HeForShe. So it's a great pleasure to join you and celebrate this moment. And it is a moment when we've got multiple crises and challenges. And the path for that is really only through global solidarity and collective action. And we saw that in the Summit of the Future as we delivered on the pact. And I can tell you, right up until the last moment, we didn't think we would do that. But there again, the world came together and said we have more in common than we have that is different. And even when it's different, it's diversity and it's rich and it's us. Today, we've got another chance to renew our energy and our convictions, and from there, get back out there and scale up the actions that need to happen to deliver on the SDGs by 2030. A world that works for all demands that women and girls are front and center. And that is the spirit of the We the Women campaign, and we saw the film today, a global movement that is engaging women from every part of the globe in shaping solutions for their lives and their futures. HeForShe is the other side of the coin. By enlisting men and boys as allies, HeForShe embodies the growing recognition that everyone has a stake in gender equality. Everyone benefits. When women and girls have equal opportunities, societies thrive. When women participate in the workforce, economies grow, and when women are involved in peace processes, peace is more sustainable. When girls are educated, entire communities benefit. Everyone, old and young, and male and female, others, all have a stake in achieving gender equality. Partnership, genuine partnerships, are at the heart of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. For a decade now, HeForShe has modeled the kind of collaboration that delivers, that engages people from the highest levels of government to corporations and international organizations, that dismantles stereotypes, the type of collaboration that moves the needle on changing laws and corporate practices. HeForShe has assembled coalitions that can do what individuals alone cannot do, and doing this together is the only solution for lasting impact. Friends, we have to unite, act decisively, and champion gender equality with unwavering commitment. The time for more of the change, more of the transformation is now. And if anyone has been quoting anyone this week, it has been Nelson Mandela, where everyone says, he had said it always seemed impossible until it's done. And so we're going to look at the impossibilities and dismantle them until it's done. And in doing that, we're going to call on governments, corporations, and individuals to join in this mission. We do have to break down the barriers that hold women and girls back. We have to challenge the stereotypes and norms that perpetuate inequality and can create a future where everyone thrives. The Pact for the Future that was adopted just a couple of days ago at the summit pledged including women and girls in all aspects of decision-making, but it also spoke about young people and the intergenerational collaboration that is needed for us to succeed. So this is not just a fight for women and girls, it is a fight for humanity, and it is a fight where we need to empower half of our population so that we can unlock the potentials of our societies. There is a saying that said, no bird flies on one wing. And right now, we're not very steady. We need to up the other side before 2030. Create a world where everyone, regardless of gender, can live with dignity, can live a life without fear, with opportunity, and in peace. So let's seize the moment now, and together we can make gender equality a reality. Thank you.
And thank you, Madam Deputy Secretary General. We are so glad you could be with us tonight. Now it is with heartfelt delight that we welcome one of the newest heads of government, HeForShe champions, someone who has filled 2/3 of his cabinet with women and has shown tremendous leadership driving Spanish feminist foreign policy. It is my honor and pleasure to invite the President of Spain to the stage. Please welcome His Excellency, Mr. Pedro Sanchez.
Well, thank you very much, dear Executive Director of UN Women, dear Sima. Well, it is a great honor for me to share this meeting with so many friends committed to gender equality and the defense of the rights of women and girls worldwide. First of all, I would like to thank UN Women for their invitation to join the HeForShe Alliance. I'm very proud that you have seen in Spain not only a partner, but a champion. And I am also honored to join other heads of states, like my friend of Iceland, CEOs and NGOs committed to the feminist cause. I'm a feminist politician, and I'm proud of it. You said before, Sima, we are witnessing setbacks in many of the rights for which our movement fought so hard. In response, we must raise our voice and remind the world that, unfortunately, gender equality is not reality, but still an aspiration, not a luxury, but a need, not a progressive win, but a basic human right that concerns all of us, as Amina said. In this journey towards equality, every voice is necessary. Each person who speaks up contributes to building a more just world. But we are especially grateful to those women who, through their films, their songs, or their art, reach millions of people and use the spotlight
they have to fight for equality. Their courage in using their platform to challenge injustice is both inspiring and essential to keeping our struggle alive. So thank you. And yes, many men and boys have a very important role to play as agents for change. The defense of women's rights is one of the goals that guides the actions of the Spanish government. Over the last few years, we have made feminism the cornerstone of our political agenda. We have put in place legislative measures and resources to advance gender equality. In joining this alliance, my government commits to undertake the following actions. First, Spain will continue to promote gender rotation in the highest positions of the UN. Only 4 women have been president of the UN General Assembly in almost 80 years. And there has never been a female Secretary General. Enough is enough. It is time to change this and ensure that women have equal access to decision-making positions, particularly at the top. Second, we will increase our funding to organizations that work towards gender equality, including UN Women, aiming to be among the top 10 contributors. Third, my government will continue to work to advance gender parity and equality in Spain, the European Union, and the world. In June, the Spanish Parliament approved the Equal Representation Law that ensures women have equitable political and economic power. The math is very simple. If women are half of the world population, they should represent half of the governments and parliaments, half of the boards of directors of the most important companies, half of the positions of responsibilities in any field or trade. In addition, my country will continue to be guided by a feminist foreign policy. This implies feminist activism in our international relations, promoting gender rights and parity worldwide. Fourth, we will promote a care society at a global scale. Women spend up to 3 times more time than men taking care of children or older adults. This is a huge barrier to women's full participation into the labor market. Spain will move towards a comprehensive care system that promotes co-responsibility between women and men, the state, the market, families, and the community. We will bring the right to assistance to the level and protection of other human rights in our country. And finally, my dear friends, I would like to tell you that Spain will continue to apply the values of feminism and a gender approach to all its policies, including those that form part of the triple transition: social, digital, and ecological transition. To achieve real and effective equality, we all have to work together. That is why alliances like HeForShe are vital. You can continue to count on me to work tirelessly towards this goal. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias.
And thank you, Your Excellency, for being the driver of change for women. Well, one of the first nations to come aboard as a HeForShe champion was Japan. Although Prime Minister, His Excellency, Mr. Fumio Kishida, could not be with us in person tonight, we are delighted to share a video message from him. Let's take a look.
ご参加の皆様、こんにちは。日本国内閣総理大臣の岸田文雄です。HeForSheの10周年、誠におめでとうございます。本会合の主催者であるバフース UN Women 事務局長、ご列席のチャンピオンの皆様、そしてHeForShe活動を支持する皆様とともに、 この記念すべき節目を祝うことができ、大変嬉しく思います。私は HeForShe チャンピオンとして4つの約束をしました。女性の経済的自立、女性活躍促進に関する積極的発信、UN Women との協力強化、そして紛争下の性的暴力の終焉への取り組みです。これまで国内の男女の賃金差異の情報開示や税と社会保障の見直しから UN Women をはじめとする国際機関への積極的な拠出までさまざまな取り組みを通じてジェンダー平等と女性と女児のエンパワーメントに貢献してまいりました。来年の UN Women 創立15周年女性平和安全保障安保理決議の採択から25周年の節目へ向け、日本は引き続き国内外のジェンダー平等の達成に力を尽くしていきます。ご清聴ありがとうございました。
And Japan has been such a supporter of HeForShe from the very beginning, so inspiring. As is one of our newest champions, let's get a glimpse of the accomplishments of this powerhouse champion.
Dr. Akinwumi A. Adesina made advancing gender central to his African Development Bank Group presidency. He helped bring Africa its first global gender summit. He mainstreamed gender strategy across the bank's work, and he designed the Affirmative Finance Action for Women in Africa, an initiative to unlock billions of dollars to grow Africa's women-led businesses. Kenyan honey product producer Pauline Otila is one of those women.
I was able to get a bank that is looking out at supporting women. So when I got the financing, it was a game changer for me.
Afawa Financing helped Otila triple turnover and grow her network of 1,200 bee farmers to more than 10,000.
I'm passionate about beekeeping. Just looking at this little creature, how much more is it able to give out? Then how much more can I give out as me?
So far, Afawa has mobilized $1.8 billion in financing, dispersed $1 billion through financial institutions in 43 African countries to more than 18,000 women-led small and medium enterprises, and counting.
Yes. Talk about inspiring. Please join me in welcoming the HeForShe champion, President of the African Development Bank, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina.
Thank you very much. My dear brother, President of Spain, Pedro Sanchez, it's nice to see you. The Prime Minister of Iceland, and of course, my dear sister, Amina Mohammed, who's doing a terrific job, and we're so proud of you as DS Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations. Good evening, everyone. I wish to congratulate you, Sima Bahu, Under Secretary General and Executive Director of UN Women, on your 10th anniversary of HeForShe. And thank you for the great job that you continue to do to fill up this place. I hope next year this place will be filled to brim, with more HeForShes. I am greatly honored to be a HeForShe champion, and I proudly wear this lapel. It reminds me of what my obligations are. While I am greatly humbled by the honor, I am proud of the girls and the women that we work with every single day to ensure that they have equal opportunities. It all starts with education. There's nothing more powerful than educating the girl child. It gives her the opportunity to escape cultural stereotypes, such as early marriages, which keep girls out of school, to escape from the 650 million young girls who are forced into early marriages around the world, with 25% of them being in Africa. Providing access to clean cooking energy will free up the girl child and women from spending hours searching for and collecting firewood to cook, which also exposes them to indoor pollution
for which 300 women die and 300 kids die every single day, just trying to, every single year, just trying to cook a decent meal. And that's why the African Development Bank has committed $2 billion towards the provision of clean cooking solutions for women all across Africa. Providing access to water will save girls several hours they spend looking for clean water. I remember very well my first board meeting when I was first elected president of the African Development Bank. I still remember vividly the docket item in front of me. That item was on a water project in Sudan, in a place called West Kordofan, which is known as a zone of thirst. I was surprised to learn at the time in the boardroom that because of water scarcity, girls spend several hours looking for clean water, wasting time that she should be spending learning and achieving in school. As a result of that, 50% of the girls were falling out of school. And as I looked at the item in front of us, how long it was going to take for us to actually do the work, it was going to take a long time. And they had just approved it at the board. And I looked and I said, no, but this is going to take 3 years to do. Well, the guy next to me said, well, thank you, but that's just been approved. I said, I don't agree with it. We have to cut back the time. And the guy said, no, your job is we approve and you say thank you. And I said, no, because if we did that, in 3 years, all the girls will be out of school. Then we have to come back to you with new projects to bring them back to school. And as a result of that, we cut that thing by half. It was a decision I had to make very, very quickly. But I sent a signal that I actually cared about girls inside of all the work that we will do. The provision of menstrual hygiene management with toilets and other facilities help girls to stay in school. I saw this firsthand when I visited a hillside primary school in Lusaka, Zambia, where the African Development Bank has supported water and sanitation projects. The girls said to me that they now stay in school. They feel safe and they are more confident. We must also overcome the disparity between women and men in terms of access to financial services, as you saw in the video. Studies have shown consistently that lending to women is less risky than lending to men, as over 95% of the loans given to women is repaid back. You won't ask me what the men do with theirs. To expand access of women to finance, the African Development Bank developed and rolled out the Affirmative Finance Action for Women in Africa, AFAWA, to de-risk lending by financial institutions to women. Our goal is to mobilize $5 billion in financing for women-led businesses. I am pleased to note that this month, over $1.8 billion has been approved for women entrepreneurs through 172 financial institutions in 43 countries. Over 18,000 women businesses have received financing of $1.09 billion. And all that happened in just 3 years. And these are not just numbers. Francois Kilende, a beneficiary who used to work as a housemaid in Belgium 2 decades ago, now has used her support to grow her business and now employs 1,500 employees. Anja Sembele Fall of Senegal has used her financing to expand her beverage business, the Contana Tea Company. No bird can fly with one wing, as my sister also said, Amina. The world will be a much better place when we include women in all spheres, from running businesses, to running schools, to running corporations, to running governments, and why not, leading nations. As a HeForShe champion, I will continue to do all I can to ensure that we expand opportunities for girls and women all across Africa. And then we can turn the next decade from being a decade of impact to a decade of transformation. When women win, Africa wins. When women win, the world wins. And I thank you very much.
I had to grab you for a moment, Dr. Asina. First of all, thank you for your thoughtful remarks. I just wanted to know, you became in a position of power, and what was it in you that said, I want to advance the cause for women and girls? What was it for you?
Well, actually, earlier on in my career, I sat on a board, technical board of something called Forum for African Women Educationalists. And I was one of 2 men that were actually on that particular board. And I was very passionate about how we get girls into school, how to get them to stay in school. This was days I was in Rockefeller Foundation. This was like in the late 1990s. And my issue was, why is it that girls can't stay in school? Why is it that they can't learn in school? Why is it that they can't achieve in school? Why is it that they suffer so much sexual harassment in school? And so at that time, I was so passionate about it. In fact, we actually had a group of lawyers that we brought together that when girls were harassed in school and universities, we had a legal team put together that will actually make the case for them. So they used to call me he for she. I mean, he, she then, but you put a 4 into it today. So I think I'm just passionate about the fact that women must be given the same opportunities at all levels. When I came to the African Development Bank, we didn't have women in our senior leadership. Today we have senior vice president of the bank being a woman. We have 4 vice presidents at the bank being a woman. So it's an honor to be able to do it, but it's the right thing to do.
Well, your commitment matters, and you unlock financing for more than 18,000 women.
Yes.
I mean, that's just phenomenal.
Thank you.
Thank you for being a champion. Thank you. And as we heard from the president of Spain earlier, if women make up half the population, then we should make up half of the jobs in government, half of the jobs in business. There is so much more to do. So thank you all for you men champions out there. Well, the HeForShe Alliance is growing in strength and reach, and we are in for another treat this evening. I'm about to introduce to you the founder and CEO of one of the world's best-known action platforms powered by a community of millions of global citizens who believe in one world, one people, where everyone has an equal chance to thrive. Global Citizen. This is a very special way to mark HeForShe's 10th anniversary by welcoming visionary leaders who come on board as a champion. Please welcome on stage a tireless advocate for global citizenry, Mr. Hugh Evans.
Well, good evening. It's wonderful to be with you this evening, and I am deeply, deeply honored by the invitation to become a HeForShe champion. I want to pay tribute to Her Excellency, the Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations, Amina Mohammed. Amina, you've been a dear friend for so many years, and I'm truly grateful. UN Women Executive Director Seema Bahous, you are a legend, and we are so thankful for your leadership. And I also want to acknowledge His Excellency President Sanchez of Spain for championing this issue so eloquently, the Prime Minister of Iceland, Benediktsson, as well as President Adesina, as Anne Michelle Terry, my fellow invitees who are now the newest HeForShe champions. For those of you who don't know much about the Global Citizen Mission, while we are a 501c3 registered charity, we're not a charity in the traditional sense of the word. We don't raise money to build a water well here or a school here, even though those projects are super noble and incredibly important. Instead, we're a global advocacy platform powered by 12 million members around the world, working for the eradication of extreme poverty within our lifetime. And really, at our heart, we were inspired, as Amina said, there's a lot of people talking about the words of Mandela. We were inspired by his second final speech in Trafalgar Square in 2005 when he passionately said that overcoming poverty is not a gesture of charity, it's an act of justice. He said, like slavery and apartheid, poverty is not natural, it's man-made and can be overcome and eradicated by the actions of human beings. And in that speech lied 2 really important truths. Firstly, that extreme poverty is man-made and therefore can be man-unmade. And secondly, that it requires the actions of human beings. So from day one, Global Citizen has never been about asking citizens for their money. We ask you to download the Global Citizen app and take action. All of your actions earn you points, and you can use those points to join us this Saturday when 60,000 global citizens gather on the great lawn of Central Park for the annual Global Citizen Festival to celebrate the United Nations agenda of achieving a world free from extreme poverty within our lifetime. And when I reflect on the role of what it means to be a HeForShe champion, and the role an organization like Global Citizen can play, I'm reminded of 5 years ago in 2018 when we brought Global Citizen and Beyoncé to South Africa for the first time. When we arrived, we sat down with a group of local activists, these grassroots leaders, and they were championing this campaign calling for greater access to menstrual hygiene products across South Africa. They had a campaign called It's Bloody Time. How cool is that? And we were like, okay, how can we support you? They said, we've been campaigning for years. They said that South African government made a commitment in 2011 to increase access to menstrual hygiene products in schools, but 7 years later, it was words without action. Nothing had changed. And they said, we've been struggling to get the attention of Pretoria. Can you help us? And so we sat down with them and we agreed on 2 big policy objectives. Firstly, we wanted to eliminate the tax on menstrual hygiene products. And secondly, we wanted to make sure that they were actually provided in public schools across South Africa. So we started working together, and the day we announced Beyoncé was coming to South Africa, 500,000 people signed on that day. And the first call to action we gave them was to call Pretoria and demand It's Bloody Time. And that night, 100,000 global citizens called Pretoria, and there were so many phone calls they had to take every phone line off the hook for the next 2 weeks. And immediately, 2 weeks later, they responded and the tax was eliminated on menstrual hygiene products across South Africa. And it was a good win, but we kept on going. We were so energized, and so we campaigned harder than we've ever campaigned before. And I'll never forget the night. We were in FNB Stadium in Johannesburg, and Cyril Ramaphosa was backstage and was about to come on stage. Oprah Winfrey had just given this inspiring speech, and Beyoncé was about to take the stage. And Oprah Winfrey invited President Ramaphosa to take the stage. And as he was about to walk on stage, 80,000 people started chanting, "It's bloody time." And I'll never forget, I looked at Cyril Ramaphosa and he had his iPad open and he wrote in the margins of his iPad, $129 million for menstrual hygiene products in schools across South Africa, enough money to fully finance that campaign objective. And I'm proud to say that since that year, every year since, the South African government has increased its budget towards menstrual hygiene products in schools, rising from 4.3 million per year to now 13.4 million, reaching 5 million learners who otherwise would be forced out of school. And I'm proud to report that that program continues to this day. And if every girl received 12 years of quality education and there weren't those barriers, it could reduce the number of girls in poverty by up to 49 million. So how can we best support the HeForShe movement? Well, I'm here to say tonight that Global Citizen is committed to use our reach and digital platforms to highlight HeForShe initiatives, driving engagement and action. By integrating HeForShe's goals into Global Citizen events, social media, and digital campaigns, we're committed to mobilizing our 12 million members around the world to take action for gender equity. And when we think about the empowerment of women and girls, it's not charity, it's an act of justice. There is nothing noble about fighting for gender equity. It should be a given. And the fact that it is not is where the injustice lies. See, empowering women and girls is not an isolated effort or a box to tick. It's an investment in global development, in stronger economies, in healthier communities, and in a more sustainable future for all. And that's why tonight I want to thank you for the incredible honor it is to be named a HeForShe champion. Thank you.
Well, I have to hear from you. You know, you've been a great driver of change. We've heard about all of these wins. Who was this incredible woman in your life that inspired you to do all of this?
Well, I mean, undoubtedly my mum. I mean, my mum, I admire her. She was an entrepreneur, is an entrepreneur. She had so much drive ever since I was a kid. I always looked up to her and I said, you know, I want to have that same drive. She runs her own business. She successfully bought out all of her other brothers and now runs it solo. I was so impressed with that act. Took her many years. And I was like, if she can have that entrepreneurial vision, then I hope one day I can be like her.
And is that a part of the change that you hope that you can instill in other women to give them opportunities, even in some of these other countries you're talking about?
Well, I firmly believe that young men and young women equally have within them this extraordinary potential to change the world. I heard this story a few days ago. There was this young kid who came up to us, and he said that he came to the first Global Citizen Festival in 2012. At the time, he was working at a restaurant, and he came to the festival that night, and he got fired from the restaurant because he came to the festival instead. And he said at the moment, that time, he was really down for a second, but he was so inspired after what he saw that there's a movement of people out there that want to create change that he decided to start his own organization. And his organization is now one of the leading sustainability organizations on the planet. And I was like, if that's all that we inspire, those little pieces here and there, then I'll be very happy with the mission that we're working on.
Oh, well, you should be extremely proud. Thank you so much, Hugh. Thank you. Wow, just incredible, right? Well, by the way, Global Citizen Festival is coming up this Saturday in Central Park with Hugh Jackman hosting, right? We have Dr. Jane Goodall and other luminaries who will be speaking, and so many musicians. We've got Post Malone, I believe, Doja Cat, Lisa, Jelly Roll, and the list goes on. So hopefully you'll get out there, you'll download that app, right? You got to download it. You got to say, I'm going to do something. So congratulations to all your success and for being a true champion in so many ways. The power of one, I always say. So let's take a break. And while you're starting to enjoy your dinner, you're going to see some of the incredible work that Global Citizen has been doing around the world. Bon appetit. Now we're going to take a look at a HeForShe champions who are not with us this evening and their amazing accomplishments. Let's take a look.
Being HeForShe means standing with women for a more equal world. I've learned so much about what it means to create an inclusive company, but there is still so much work to do. We want to work to ensure that De Beers is part of creating a fairer and more inclusive world for all.
I will help create a world where my daughters and everyone are encouraged to do what they love. Doing what you love means you bring out your best, not what history expects. At Likud Group, we are committed to gender parity.
Together, we're helping to shape corporate leadership on gender equality. That's why in 2019, Vodafone launched the first global domestic abuse policy. We believe in a future where every woman can achieve her potential.
In our organization and in our programs, we need men as well as women to live out our commitment to equality for women and girls in the work that we do. The majority of our clients are women and girls, but the women and girls face multiple inequalities in the contexts in which we work, and it's our responsibility to make sure that in our programs, we don't just understand those inequalities, but we work to mitigate them. The HeForShe partnership is important in that.
HeForShe has provided us a vehicle to have important conversations about the gender inequalities within policing and the communities we serve. It is a specific topic that we use to engage men and gives a name to their role as allies. I am HeForShe. Are you?
Wonderful. Change in action. Well, now I have some unfortunate late-breaking news. Unfortunately, our global Goodwill Ambassador, activist, and actress Anne Hathaway could not be with us this evening, so we will certainly miss her. But we are fortunate that we have the UN Women Regional Goodwill Ambassador for Africa here, originally as a guest tonight, and now stepping in to moderate our fireside chat. She is a powerful and outspoken activist leading the movement to end female genital mutilation and child marriage, Ms. Jaha Doucouré. Let's welcome her to the stage. And let's also welcome the other HeForShe champions, Tato Molente, the Acting Chief Sustainability and Corporate Affairs Officer at MTN Group, Ms. Lisa Felton, the Director of Vodafone Group Foundation, Ms. Michelle Terry, a new HeForShe champion, the CEO of Movember, and Mr. David Jones, co-founder and chairs the board of One Young World, and finally, Mr. Timon Mister, the Group Chief Operating Officer of Ports and Terminals at DP World. Jaha, take it away.
Thank you so much, Sade. Your Excellencies, I want to start by saying hello to the woman who made it possible for all of us to sit here as an African woman, Ms. Amina Mohammed. And there wouldn't be a Jaha without you, and I think all of us are very, very grateful. And to our Executive Director at UN Women for creating a platform like this. I'm known as a daddy's girl. A lot of people don't know this about me. My father has 33 children, and somehow I'm his favorite. And I'm the only one like this in our family. My dad being an imam, I think one of the things that I learned about him, a lot of my work on ending female genital mutilation has been dealing with religious leaders and dealing with traditional leaders. And I think for me, I figured the importance of it when we look at the HeForShes today. Our fathers are our HeForShes in our communities, in our households, in our villages, in everywhere that we go. And I think we will not be able to end female genital mutilation without having them on this journey. We will not be able to end child marriage. I remember when I got married as a 15-year-old, and I also remember the day my father asked me to forgive him. And right now, my dad does not make a decision without me. He does not sign a piece of paper without me. I have brothers that are older than me, but when he was sick last year and I was home, every decision that my dad made, he would not do it without me being in that room. And I remember asking him why, and one of the things that he told me is because knowing the work that I've done for the world, he knows that I'm able to do that for my own family with or without his presence. And I think today it's such an honor to be, leading this conversation with people that I know. David, long time. We were just together at One Young World. And I guess I would like to start with Lisa. Lisa, Vodafone and the Vodafone Foundation have been pioneers in integrating domestic abuse prevention into workplace policies and technology solutions. I think what I want to know is what has been the impact of these initiatives and what challenges have you faced within their implementation, and how do you see the work evolving in the future, and why is it so important for this to be part of achievements of the SDGs?
Thank you very much, and thank you for inviting me to be here. It's a real privilege to be with this amazing group of people today. So domestic violence is something that we in the Vodafone Foundation started to address over 15 years ago. The Red Cross actually came to us with an idea about a handset which could be used by very high-risk women to connect them to the police, if they were at risk of violence. And we created this handset with them. And we, since then, have rolled it out to 5 countries, fully nationally, together with police forces. And for the first time when we created this, it created the ability of women to be able to leave their homes, because the only panic buttons they had up to that point were in their houses. Since then, we've also looked at prevention. So we have an Apps Against Abuse program, which helps women understand if they're in situations which are dangerous, seek help, and find solutions close to them. And we're helping over 2.8 million people through our Apps Against Abuse program. We also run awareness campaigns, and our last awareness campaign around coercive control reached over 60 million women globally. But as a company, we also feel very strongly about this issue, and after joining HeForShe, we did some research in this area to look at how many companies were acting and addressing domestic violence and what needed to be done in legislation. And very few companies were doing anything. At the time, the companies we surveyed, about 5% had domestic abuse policies. And we felt this is something that is really important to address. It's not talked about, it's not seen as a company problem, but we felt as a global company, we had to stand up. And we introduced the first global policy for all of our operating companies around the world on domestic violence, which provided paid leave, counseling, and we've continued to adapt that to make our employees ambassadors and allies through training and helping them support their colleagues. What we have seen since the start of HeForShe is more and more companies have also taken on this challenge and are also introducing their own policies. So the last survey we did with UN Women, the companies we surveyed, of those, 82% had implemented a domestic violence policy. And for anyone in this room, we have toolkits available. If you haven't already done it, come to us, we can help you do it. It's very simple to do, but it's such an important policy to have for your employees.
Lisa, thank you. I think having the toolkits as well as the counseling services and for women to have the ability to leave their houses, when we look at even girls' education, for instance, not giving girls the same opportunity to get an education is almost planned poverty, because if they cannot contribute, and a lot of times when you ask parents why, they tell you that when it's late, they're worried about what happens to their children. And these are some of the concerns that I think all of us need to, and it's great to see that, your company is doing all of these things in the right direction. So my next question is for David. Hi, David.
Hello. Good time.
So David, male allyship has been recognized as a critical factor in driving gender equality. How has One Young World harnessed the influence of male leaders in its network to advance gender equality? And what strategies do you see as the most effective in deepening male engagement and commitment in the HeForShe movement globally?
Sure. So look, I think we were all asked to send a quote in this evening, and mine was that behind every great woman, there's another great woman, but it doesn't mean that men can't help, and it probably kind of sums up my philosophy to this. We're all here because we care about gender equality, but it's not enough to care, we have to act. And I think we've had some amazing counselors and ambassadors over the years at One Young World, and Emma Watson actually came very early on, who clearly was key to the whole HeForShe movement, but over the years, people like Kofi Annan and Mohammed Yunus, who were really outspoken supporters of gender equality. We've had amazing young leaders, we had several we were talking about over the last few days in Montreal, but one guy who's doing great work in Nigeria, basically fighting for gender equality in healthcare and ensuring that women can get screening for cervical cancer and breast cancer. Another one who's distributing menstrual products throughout India. So I think, at a big picture level, that's kind of what we're doing on the One Young World side. And then in terms of advice for, what can we as men do? I think the first thing is, This isn't about charity, it's about performance. So, don't do it because of your mom or your sister or your daughter. It's like, no, you will have a better, higher performing organization if you put more women leaders. And One Young World is a great example of that. I just run around behind two extraordinary female leaders, Kate Robertson, our CEO, and Ella Mackay, our MD. I think the second thing you can do, you can't change who you are, but you can change who you hire and who you promote and how you pay people. And we had an amazing counselor at One Young World, Christine O'Krent, who was the first ever female news anchor on French TV. And she said something which sadly is both funny and true. She said, women will have true equality with men when a clearly incompetent woman can still get the top job. Because we have tons of really crap guys running companies and organizations and countries and even standing to run countries. And I think, make sure that you're giving women the opportunities, because if you do, they will succeed. I think the third thing is be a mentor and a sponsor. I'm super proud that I mentored for many years an exceptional woman who was the head of talent at a big packaged goods company, and she's now the global CEO of one of the most famous luxury companies in the world. She would have done that anyway, but just give time and help to the extent you can. Speak out. If you're sitting in a meeting or sitting in a room and there is toxic male behavior going on, don't ignore it. Don't say, I'll go and speak to that person after, because if you do, you perpetuate a culture where it's acceptable. And if you speak out, the women in your organization know you won't tolerate that. And the final one, which is a stupid, small one-on-one level, but is actually incredibly effective, is take the panel pledge. And the panel pledge is that you will not sit on all male panels. And, I was invited to a panel I really wanted to be on. It was The Economist. It was about AR and AI. And they invited the head of Google, who was a man, and me and the other guy. And I said, look, I won't sit on an all-male panel. And they, oh, God, yeah, that's a bit dumb, isn't it? And they invited a brilliant female entrepreneur. And so it's a little one, but it's effective.
Thank you very much, David. Be a mentor, be a sponsor. You have been a mentor to me. The first time I attended One Young World was 7 years ago in Colombia. And ever since then, you have supported me. You have sponsored and given me a platform to not only share my voice, but bring other young people. And I think that is something that we are very, very grateful for. I'll now turn my question to Michelle Terry, CEO of Movement. And Movement's focus on promoting healthy masculinity intersects with ambitions to build gender-equal society. Please share your vision and understanding of the complementary of healthy masculinity for the HeForShe mission, and how do you think Movement's research and advocacy can help advance this agenda?
Thanks very much. It's so great to be here with like-minded partners and people here with HeForShe who recognise that gender equality is going to require collective and immediate action for tackling harmful gender stereotypes, and that includes stereotypes around masculinity. And I have the great pleasure and privilege as the CEO of Movember to get to engage with boys and men all around the world. Firstly, when they very kindly lent us their upper lip in the month formerly known as November to grow hairy badges of pride called moustaches, but also in talking to them around, how can we break down barriers around silence around men's health, stereotypes around masculinities, and the harm that does. So we've been able to raise, through our 6 million supporters, about $1.1 billion over the last 20 years. And we've been putting these funds into about 1,300 different programs across the year around the idea that we want men and boys to live happier, healthier, longer lives. And we do that because guys are dying too young, but also because we realise that healthier men equal healthier relationships, healthier families, healthier communities and healthier societies, and to a degree, the reverse is true. So in the last few years, one of our core focuses has been around understanding and dismantling outdated gender norms, so focusing on masculinity. So we've been listening to men directly and trying to understand to them what it means to be a man, how they define masculinity, and also what impact this has on their physical and mental health. And we know from our research and research of others that the rigid adherence to traditional masculine stereotypes, things like toughness, like stoicism, like self-reliance, can be barriers to men seeking help when they need it. And this can lead to negative outcomes like distress, like depression, and in some extreme cases into things like suicide. But the important thing to think about is that masculinity, like femininity and other elements of identity, is not one-dimensional. So our research and insights from our global community show us that masculinity is unique to individual men. It changes over time, it changes across situations, and recognising and celebrating that diversity is really important with respect to a vision of promoting healthy masculinities. I think it's important to think about that we're not trying to strip men of the identities or roles that they hold close and dear, or to impose a new rule book about what it is to be a healthy man. It is about embracing the idea that men should not be confined by narrow stereotypes and providing them with diverse virtues and role models that they can see themselves and seek to emulate. We want to challenge men to reflect on how traditional gender stereotypes and masculine tropes serve them or don't serve them, and encourage them to be more than, I guess, the rigidity of those old expectations. Because we believe that healthier men equal a healthier world, and that it drives to better physical and mental health. It benefits everyone. So it's not only key to benefiting men's health, but also achieving true gender equality. So together with HeForShe partners, we're really committed and proud to elevating the voices and experience of boys and men and engaging them as part of the solution.
Oh, thank you very much. I think, thank you. Looking at the stereotypes around men, I mean, with the recent experience that I had in the Gambia, I always say that we have to tap into their humanity. We have to tap into, because at the end of the day, they're human beings. They're people who, you know, understanding why they think the way they think would help us design programs that are based on evidence. And I think the research that your company is doing is something that is very, very needed for grassroots activists like myself who are trying to figure out how we can really get through to them and have some of these conversations that are necessary. So I'll now move to Mr. Tato. You know, MTN Group, I've actually worked with MTN when I was in Liberia, and you guys are doing really, really amazing work, especially when it comes to keeping girls in school and FGM. But MTN Group has set ambitious goals to achieve gender equality by 2030, including 50% female representation in the workforce. Reflecting on your journey over the past decade and taking into account that you are also celebrating a milestone of 30 years in the business, what specific strategies or initiatives have been most effective in driving this progress? And how have you navigated the challenges along the way?
Thank you, and my warm greetings to everybody, as we say on the continent, all protocols observed. So, I mean, I think if you think about our 30-year journey as MTN, women have played a critical role in how we've built the business. And if you look at the history and the growth of the business, women have played leading roles in terms of executive committees, boards, as well as the broader workforce. And I think that has steered us with boldness in terms of how we're shaping our story. So in 2021, we launched a strategy which we called Ambition 2025, which has the strategic intent of leading digital solutions for Africa's progress. Now, very key to that is gender equality and the progress of women, and that's a very big focus in terms of that. So one of the KPIs that we do look at is how we track against this pledge that we've made to achieve gender equity by 2030. You mentioned this 50% target. And when you look at with 6 years to go, the progress that we've made, we're up just over 41% across 18 markets in our portfolio. So I think we're tracking along quite nicely. Now, how do we do this? I think the way we have embraced our role as a HeForShe champion through our group CEO is that we took a deliberate shift in some of the processes and the procedures that we have in place in the work that we do in terms of driving our work around gender equity. And if I think of kind of the key ones, these include things like ESG-led rewards in terms of gender equity. So in other words, we basically have gender inclusivity as a target in our incentive framework. We've driven exclusive leadership programs, something that we call Rising Leaders. And that's really dedicated to fast-tracking the growth journeys of women within the organization. We've created partnerships, partnership programs, which really focus on next-gen STEM for women in STEM. And that does focus on graduates, so really just building that pipeline for MTN and beyond in terms of women that are focused on in the STEM field. And then we have a recruitment strategy that looks at gender equality. So for example, we've got a policy that says you need to hire at least 60% of women in terms of new hires, and it's a mandate that's enterprise-wide. And of course, we support these with programs and initiatives, things like Women at Work. We've got another program called Women in Tech. And these are really platforms that women within MTN can actually collaborate, connect, and really just kind of showcase their work experience as well as access opportunities. So we're very cognizant of the urgency and importance of the work. And maybe just to round off with a case study, I mean, one of our operations in Uganda, so Uganda is one of the largest 5 operations within our portfolio. It's listed locally on the Uganda Securities Exchange. So this is a business where last year they actually passed the threshold of 50% women in the workforce.
Oh, amazing.
It's led by a woman CEO. Just over a third of the executive committee are women, and it's about a 60% female board. And by the way, this is a business that's growing consistently. It leads in the market in the sector, so it can be done. Thank you.
50%. I mean, I think that's incredible. 50, yeah, that's the goal, and that's what we're hoping that all companies are able to achieve. And now I would come to Mr. Timon Mister. And your commitment to gender diversity is evident in DP's world's various initiatives, such as increasing female new hires and boosting women's representation on corporate boards. How do you ensure that these initiatives are sustained and scaled effectively? And looking ahead, what new strategies or commitments is DP World considering to further enhance gender diversity and inclusion within the organization, particularly in areas where progress has been more challenging?
Thanks for the question, and great to be here. Lovely evening, and what a venue. From this side, it's even better than maybe from that side to there. So to answer this question, you first need to understand our business. And you know, we're about 120,000 people, 65, 70 countries. But the business we're in is shipping, logistics, and seaport, which already says a lot in terms of the challenges that we have. And what we've learned over the last few years, that in terms of gender equality and to move this forward, there's actually been a few programs that have really worked well. And the first one was actually a mentoring program. So rather than to focus on, you know, more women in better positions, to make sure that they can perform as good and as happy in the jobs that they have, turned out to be one of the more important things. And this program, we call it Mentor Her. It's entirely voluntary. Any woman can sign up, but the trick is that the mentor has to be somebody from inside the company. So I've done similar. I've been fortunate to mentor a few ladies along the way, and it's a lovely tool to make sure people get understood, they get heard, they understand their career obstacles, if there are anything, and things of that nature. So Mentor Her is a great tool within the company. The second thing you alluded to, we're fortunate to have a lot of scale, a lot of people. Inside the group, we have many companies, therefore many boards. And so we kind of forcefully decided, let's make a program that allows women to actually serve on our internal boards and to start to get the experience of what it means at an executive level, to hear the conversations, what does it mean, etc. So we've placed the first 15 women this summer in boards, and we'll take it from there. And I think it's a great opportunity for many of them. And I can tell you, some of them have been to my office and they're very excited with those opportunities. But the real challenge for us is that 75% of our organization is operational. And just think about it, big machines, ships, cranes, trucks, all the nasty stuff. And that is a male-dominated area, basically everywhere. So how do you tackle something like that? And of course, the answer in Peru is different than Australia as is in Korea or for us in Dubai. It's a different story, but we have seen, and I just want to give you one example, that sometimes by embracing technology, you can also do things. Now, in the world of shipping, you have these big ships, they get to the port, you get these big cranes, they take the containers on and off. To operate one of these cranes, you need to go 65 meters up in an elevator, and you sit there 24/7 trying to get these containers on and off. It's a terrible, tough job. How do you make this more attractive for the female workforce? So in Korea last year, where we have a huge issue, not just with equality, but also with an aging workforce. And the guys there said, how do we get the younger female population also interested in this ancient industry? And we came with the idea, what about remote operations? What if we can get that job done, but in the office? The technology these days is there with lasers, opticals. And I can tell you, long story short, we've now set it up in the office, so it's no longer up 65 meters, and we've hired the first 25 South Korean girls at roughly 25, 28 years age bracket who are operating these cranes from inside. So it's like a PlayStation environment, funnily said, but by embracing technology, you can suddenly attract the other workforce. So this is great. Guess what's happened? We've now deployed it in Dubai. We have Emirati ladies running these cranes from inside the office in our terminal in Jebel Ali in Dubai. We've done it similarly in Rotterdam, and we are now doing it in Turkey. So sometimes there's also new ideas that can promote these kind of things forward. So this is to share with you what's going on in our company.
Thank you very much. And having women in male-dominated areas and mentoring them is really, really amazing. I want to thank my panelists. We don't have a lot of time. I could have stayed here and talked to you all night. But thank you very much for joining me tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Great work that you're doing, DP World, MTN Group, women, creating pipelines for women in the STEM field. Just incredible. Thank you so much. And David Jones, you said you can change who you hire and who you promote. Be a mentor, speak out about toxic male behavior. I really like that one. And take a panel pledge. I will not sit on all male panels. I think that is great. Something that many men out here can adopt. Yes? Okay. Thank you all once again. And now I'd like to give a shout out to one of the stars of the tennis world who is also here with us tonight, someone who has achieved many accomplishments, including winning a World Tennis Association Tour title, also the first Tunisian and Arab player to win a WTA 1000 event, her biggest title, Miss Ange Jabbour. Please stand up. Wonderful. Wonderful, there you are. Congratulations. Thank you so much for being here. Now let's hear from the head of the International Tennis Federation, Mr. David Haggerty. Let's take a look.
Maybe the greatest female server of all time.
Women work their entire lives to compete in a sport that used to cast them as a sideline and paid them a fraction of what men made.
A lot of ladies would like to have this another double.
I remember that incredible moment in 1973 when Billie Jean King beat Bobby Riggs in straight sets. Wow, that was a moment in history. Since then, women have played a huge role in bringing tennis to people everywhere. Serena and Venus Williams, Hingis, Sharapova, Everett, Graf, Seles, Navratilova, Osaka.
That was better than good, I think.
HeForShe is the perfect match for our ambition to make gender equality a reality in tennis. What this means is equal playing opportunities for men and women, equal seats on our board and committee, millions of investment, and the most exciting part, equal prize money for the World Cup of Tennis, the Billie Jean King Cup, and the Davis Cup. When a woman walks on the court, she should know that she is respected and an important part of our sport. We are immensely proud of the changes that the ITF has made, and we are thrilled to be part of the UN HeForShe Alliance. Together, we are achieving change on a global level. The ITF sees men and women as equals, and that has to be the way forward for all sports. I am a HeForShe champion because together we are unstoppable.
Oh yes, USA. Stand and deliver.
Fantastic. HeForShe champions, moving the needle and pushing forward for gender equality. I love it. Well, to close our gala celebration tonight, we are thrilled that a multi-talented actor and 2024 Tony nominee is with us to perform the profound writings of Matty Stepanek and his song, I Am Shades of Life. Please welcome Mr. Jordan Donica.
Good evening. It's my pleasure to be here with you all. I hope you all enjoyed your dinner, and I hope you all have a lovely evening. I am black, I am white, I am all skins in between. I am young, I am old, I am each age that has been. I am scrawny, I am well-fed, I am starving for attention. I am famous, I am cryptic, I am hardly worth a mention. I am short, I am height, I am any frame or stature. I am smart, I am challenged, I am striving for a future. The color of sky is blues and grays. The color of earth is greens and browns. The color of hope is rainbows and purple. And the color of peace is people together. People together. I am able, I am weak. I am some strength, I am none. I am being, I am thought. I am all things said and done. I am born, I am died. I am dust of humble roots. I am grace, I am pain. I am labor of wilt fruits. I am slave, I am free. I am bonded to my life. I am rich, I am poor. I am wealth amid strife. The color of sky is blues and grays. The color of earth is greens and browns. The color of hope is rainbows and purple. And the color of peace is people together. People together. I am shadow, I am glory, I am hiding from my shame. I am hero, I am loser, I am yearning for a name. I am empty, I am proud, I am seeking my tomorrow. I am growing, I am fading, I am hope amid the sorrow. I am certain, I am doubtful, I am desperate for solutions. I am leader, I am student, I am fate and evolutions. I am spirit, I am voice, I am memory not recalled. I am chance, I am cause, I am effort blocked and walled. I am him, I am heard, I am reason without rhymes. I am past, I am nearing, I am present in all times. I am many, I am no one, I am seasoned by each being. I am me, I am you, I am all souls now decreeing. The color of sky is blues and grays. The color of earth is greens and browns. The color of hope is rainbows and purple. And the color of peace is people together. Yes, the color of peace is people together. People together. We make the shades of light. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Jordan. Well, that concludes this evening, but please stay, enjoy dessert, coffee, enjoy each other. Thank you all, and please continue your fight from your corners of the world. We need you, the world needs you for gender equality and just for a more equitable tomorrow. So now I need to go, get back and do the 11 o'clock news, and I'm sure we're gonna have a snippet of all you all this evening. So thank you again, and continue the fight. Thank you.